Had a couple subscribers ask me to do some grilling videos, so I decided to make a video about tonight's dinner. And basically I'm doing a pork roast, and I'm going to smoke it with some crabapple chunks here that I cut from my backyard. And everything you do is get the grill set up indirect method and get the charcoal canister full there to light it up, and just take and put some newspaper in the bottom there and just give it about 20 minutes to all get good and glowing. Meantime, yesterday I started brining a pork butt. Basically I just take a gallon of water, a half cup of kosher salt. I mix in usually sage, I mix in put in some garlic, put in some onion powder, put in some parsley, put in some black pepper, and basically let it soak for 24 hours in that brine, and then just take it out and just pat it down. You have to keep it in the refrigerator while you're brining it, but there it is all ready to go on the grill. Brining these really keeps them from drying out when you smoke them on the grill for a couple hours. Then I'm going to have one of these, they call them an orange butternut that I grew this year, and they're, basically a butternut. They're really super hard to cut. You can see they're pretty tough there. But, basically they're a new type of butternut that I tried, and in the end they actually taste kind of like a cross between a butternut and an acorn squash. I wonder if that's how they got the green outside to them. But anyhow, they were really good. So I just took and I decided to slice one up into 1-inch thick slices like that, so I could throw them on the grill. So that was pretty easy. I left the skin on them and everything for cooking, and then it was just a matter of getting them, just putting some olive oil on them. I put them on, just a tray. It didn't matter, and then just take a coat of olive oil on each side of them, and this kind of helps to keep them moist a little bit, and actually helps to brown them up on the grill a little bit too. So I got that all spread out, and then I've got my Jane's crazy mixed up salt, and I use this on everything that goes on the grill. So I'm gonna just put a sprinkling of that on first side of these, and then basically I'm just going to flip them over and do the same thing, over again to the other side. Now this is actually the first time I've tried cooking a butternut like this, so in the end they turned out really good. And then once you get the coals all red hot in that chimney there, they're all started up, you just divide them equally on both sides of the drip pan. Got those little charcoal holders for the indirect cooking. So just put the charcoal on, and then I throw the grill on, and it's pretty messy because I used barbecue sauce the last time, so just gotta scrape that off good. I actually still use the wire brush. They tell you don't use these things, but I had a whole bunch of replacement wire heads for them and stuff, so I've been using them yet, and I just go back and I use a microfiber cloth after I'm done to really wipe the grill down good and hopefully not get any of the wires in. But in the future I'm going to buy one of those non-wire type, and then the pork goes on there, and that's been brined and dried off, and now I'm going to throw the 3 chunks of crabapple in there. Crabapple is a real nice light sweet smoke, and I don't want too much. I don't want it to be overpowering, but you can see a couple of minutes later it's actually just starting to fill with smoke nice. And so now I'm going to throw the oiled and salted butternut rings on there, and just put the top on and let that cook for a while. In the meantime, my wife's inside. We got some okra from the garden, and she's putting it on a stick and making those okra sickles like I made the video about. We love these things, and you just put some oil and crazy salt on them also. So about a half hour later, I open the grill up, and just time to flip over this little squash patties there, or whatever we want to call them. And at the same time, I actually just flip the meat over too. You can see they're starting to brown up a little bit on the outside now, and they're starting to get a little bit soft. So now I'm just going to put the cover back on there and let it sit for about another half an hour. Now at this point, this is 1 hour into the cook, and what I do is I go back and I add 5 briquettes of charcoal to each side there to just keep things going, and every hour you have to add them. So I added my charcoal, flipped that back over a little bit, and play around a little bit there with the butternut patties, just move them around a little bit to try to get them to cook evenly. And you can see pretty much a Weber that's set up for the indirect cooking like this really has a lot of different heat zones that you can move things around and you can actually play with. So then another 15 minutes later, I've got a couple of one eggplant that I just picked a little while ago, and I put the oil on that also and some crazy salt on that. So I'm just gonna throw that on the grill now and start that cooking now that I'm getting near the end. And just keep, moving the butternut around and flipping it so you don't get any really bad burnt spots on it. You get it cooked evenly through. Then a couple minutes later, I'm back there, open it up again and, move things around again. And now it's time to put the okra sickles on the grill also. So just making some room, and I want to put them over the hotter coal area to get them cooking. So you can see I'll just throw them with the wooden sticks over the drip pan there so that the sticks don't burn off of them, and just put them over the hot coals to let them start cooking. I'm trying to grill a bunch of different veggies and meat stuff on the grill. The timing is very important. It's kind of hard to get everything timed so it's done at the same time, but here I am a couple minutes later after the okra's on. I'm starting to turn that the first time, and you want to keep turning that so that it doesn't get all burned on one side and it starts to kind of soften up and cook down in the middle. So in the meantime, I also put a thermometer in the meat there, you can see, just to kind of get a gauge of how much time I have left now. And pork roast actually is up to about 130 degrees, so I still have probably about 15 minutes left. So then about 5 minutes later, I'm going to go back and play with the okra again and the eggplant stuff. This time we're starting to get close to the end, so what I'm going to do is take some of my homemade maples. Well, actually not homemade. I got the sap from the maple trees growing in my backyard there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start coating those butternut patties, or whatever we want to call them, with some of the maple syrup, just to give it a little bit of a it'll have in the end, it'll have like a sweet smoky, salty flavor to it. So it came out really good. I was very happy the way they came out. And when we ate them, I did actually peel the skins off of them, so the skins just kind of held them together for cooking. So there you can see I put a coat on one side of them, and then I just flipped them over. And you want to make sure that you don't have them in one of the the hot spots on the grill, because this maple syrup will burn up pretty quick if you do. So I did one side, flipped them, and then I'm just gonna put a thin coat on the other side, just a little bit of a flavor to them and a little bit of a glaze on them when they're done there. So a couple minutes later, you can see everything's just about done now. The eggplant's really well cooked, and they are a very sweet eggplant. They did come out good. I'm happy with them on the grill. And right at about 140 now, you can see on the thing. So I've got 5 more minutes to go till it's going to be done. So I'm going to start by doing the same thing with the squash again. I'm going to put a second coat of the maple syrup on each side of them and just let that cook for the last couple of minutes. So that'll be the final coat there. And in the end, these things, like I said before, they actually came out really good. They were kind of like a mixture of a butternut squash and a acorn squash, and I was real happy with the flavor of them and how they cooked up on the grill. And I definitely will, try this again in the future, especially having about 800 pounds of squash sitting there. So 140, and now it's give it a couple more minutes, and it hits 145 real quick. So it's time to take everything off the grill and go inside and start enjoying it. So from start to finish, this basically took me 2 hours, cooking in the indirect method, and that's a good thing about a Weber. You can, you can basically cook anything, you can smoke anything. It's really a low-cost, versatile grill, and this one here is probably 15 years old, and I mean you can see it's really been used. It's cooked thousands of pounds of meat and veggies on it and stuff, and there's no sign of damage to it at all yet. So they're kind of like you buy them once for a lifetime of use. So I got the veggies off, and next the pork comes off. So I got everything inside. You can see the veggies, they look really good. They came out nice. The pork, I just set that on the cutting board and gave that 5 minutes to rest before I cut it. And you can pretty much see just how juicy it comes out when you do brine it. This meat was it was just so juicy, and it was just like butter. And actually it had a really nice smoke ring around the inside there. You can see just those 3 little chunks of crab apple were enough to give it a really nice flavor, and it actually gave the squash a nice light flavor too. So you have to be careful that you don't get the the smoke on these things too overwhelming. Down there you can see it's cooked just perfect, and you can see how brining these actually makes them so that they come out good. And there's some applesauce from our last year that we canned up, and it's basically his dinner. We had my wife cooked up some beans on the side, and everything that came off the grill. And then for dessert, I finally did get one good watermelon out of the batch of them. All the rest of them taste like cucumbers. This one was a good one. So here it is, just a quick video showing you how I like to grill veggies and, just lightly smoke them and smoke a piece of meat. Sure wish there was a way to add smell to a video, because this stuff smells really great. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.